Hey everyone, Trip to Mean Astrology readings here. This is where the eclipse on March, I think it's 7th, is going to happen. The eclipse is only going to be complete right there. One of the main points that the eclipse hits is Sumatra, Indonesia. And Sumatra was just hit with a huge earthquake. And people are thinking that, based on the fact that the eclipse opposes Jupiter, the largest planet, that, that's the eclipse, 18 degrees Pisces, sun, moon. It's opposite Jupiter, exactly. And some people suspect that earthquakes and things like that nature could come about because of the planetary, the physics of it, separate from astrological theory, which makes complete sense to me. The eclipse exactly opposes the largest planet, and it exactly squares the other largest planet, Saturn. So, before I go into what this means, I'd first like to point out the very interesting fact that this eclipse touches on an exact point in the chart of the generations born in the 1960s, especially 1966. In 1966, a tremendous event occurred with the conjunction of Uranus and Pluto in Virgo. One of the last major pieces of the Uranus-Pluto synodic cycles, which is now being played out. Uranus in Aries right now is squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So this was another piece of the Uranus-Pluto cycles are cycles of ideological Uranus, purification, transformation, and shedding of snakeskin, Pluto. They're really significant in understanding ideological transformations, revolutionary things. So this eclipse is happening with Chiron right there in Pisces, exactly, so 20 degrees Pisces, okay. In 1966, Uranus conjunct Pluto happened for the first time in 127 years. That's the synodic cycles of Uranus and Pluto. At this time, when Uranus conjoined Pluto for the first time in 127 years, Saturn in Pisces was exactly opposite it. And after some retrograde motions of Uranus and Pluto, Saturn and Pisces, Mars came to conjoin Saturn and Chiron to exactly oppose Uranus and Pluto and square Jupiter in this extremely climatic climax of this in 1966. That's when the psychedelic stuff was going on. That's when this revolutionary civil rights movement stuff, all this stuff was going on. That's what it was. Well, part of it, So, on this fateful day, February 20th, 1966, we have a new moon that squares the nodes, and here we have Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Chiron, conjunct in Pisces, opposite this place in Virgo. This is the exact spot that is being hit by the eclipse. Strangely enough, Saturn is opposite where Jupiter was in 1966, and Jupiter is where the Uranus-Pluto conjunct. So this whole generation, the whole generation born in the 60s, has the Uranus-Pluto conjunction in Virgo. So Jupiter, the eclipse in Jupiter, is striking the 1960s generation right in their core. The generation born in this time has Saturn in Pisces, Chiron in Pisces, Uranus conjunct Pluto in Virgo at the core. So this particular eclipse is going to strike the 1960s born generation at the core and probably bring up some of the themes that were happening during that time. Very similar to the Uranus square Pluto, that's going on now. It's the themes of this. I hope that makes sense. So also very interestingly, Chiron was at 20 degrees Pisces at this climatic time in 1966. 20 degrees Pisces. Right now, Chiron is at 20 degrees Pisces. This is the chart for the eclipse, March 8th, 20 degrees Pisces exact. The south node is, all eclipses happen, sun, moon, on the nodes. The south node, the north node. All eclipses happen on the node. When a full moon or a new moon takes place on the north and south nodes, that's an eclipse. That's because, that's the north and south nodes, north node, south node, that's where the moon conjoins the belt of all planets every month. So when the moon conjoins the belt of all planets, its north and south nodes, on the sun, you got an eclipse. So for this eclipse, well, it's about Virgo in Pisces. It's about logic, tangible, earthly constructs versus or being integrated into spiritual, formless, visionary, intuitive, deep concepts. This axis of Virgo in Pisces, it's about form, structure, logic, and spiritual, intuitive things. It's about both of those. The axis of Virgo in Pisces is a dogmatic kind of axis, a very serious-minded, kind of shadowy. Purple comes to mind. I don't know why, but the color purple comes to my mind with this axis. This axis squares the Sagittarius-Gemini axis.